The Arizona Wildcats beat the Texas Tech Red Raiders tonight. The final score was 79 Arizona Wildcats to 58 Texas Tech Red Raiders. I think tonight, a lot of people were, well, from what I heard, there were some people that were pretty pissed off at the Arizona Wildcats for their first half performance. I think they had 10 turnovers, and I think in total, we had 14 turnovers, or was it 16 turnovers against Duke last game. So they weren't really happy with the amount of turnovers, but I think that one of the reasons why the Arizona Wildcats had so many turnovers is because they were trying to play more of a team game. They were trying to get assists to each other. They were trying to work together as a team. And whenever you do that, you make more passes, and you distribute the ball quite a bit more. And whenever you do that, you have there's more of a chance. Unfortunately, there's more of a chance of turnovers, and the Texas Tech Red Raiders took advantage of that, and they stole the ball quite a bit of times, where they were able to deflect it or things like that, screw up the passes, and so Arizona ended up having 10 turnovers in that first half. The second half they didn't do too bad, though. It was, I noticed that they had 2 turnovers in the second half after a little while, but it stayed at 2 turnovers. The Arizona Wildcats had 2 turnovers for quite a while in that second half, so they were doing pretty good, but then they kind of got a little bit sloppy there at the end and ended up having a total of 5 turnovers in the second half, so they ended up with 15 turnovers. And Sean Miller won't be too happy about that. He likes it, like 13 turnovers, maybe at the most 14 turnovers, so he won't be. So I don't think Sean Miller from the Arizona Wildcats coach will be too upset about the turnover situation, because I think that like I said, I think that they were more interested in just getting the amount of assists, getting quite a few assists out of their team, the Arizona Wildcats, than anything else. They ended up with that for most of the game. The Arizona Wildcats had double the amount of assists than the Texas Tech Red Raiders, and I'm kind of surprised the amount of assists. There was only 16 assists, but assists from the Arizona Wildcats, but 10 of those assists were from T.J. McConnell, and I thought, I was talking to a friend of mine tonight before the game, and we were talking about how Solomon Hill, whenever he left for the NBA last season, how that was going to be a huge gaping hole was going to be left in the Arizona Wildcats play, defense and offense, and how are we going to recover after such a huge loss of Solomon Hill last season. But T.J. McConnell has fit the bill very nicely, very, very nicely, and I was talking to her and saying that it's easy because Aaron Gordon and Brendan Ashley and Nick Johnson and Caleb Tarczewski, they're all fantastic players, so it's not too hard to look good whenever you have really good players around you. so you just pass the ball off to them, and they're pretty consistently making their shots. But speaking of consistency, 4 for 6 from three-point land. That's not too bad from Nick Johnson, and I could really tell that he was really feeling it tonight. Those were off of assists. A lot of them were off of assists, and so that made me pretty happy. Why did the crowd stick around so much tonight? I think they just wanted to see how well the Arizona Wildcats could play as a team after their big victory over Duke last game. Brendan Ashley made 2 out of 2 from three-point land. So Brendan Ashley had a really, really good game. He had 4 offensive rebounds, and I think offensive rebounds are just fantastic. And speaking of high amount of offensive rebounds, Rondé Hollis-Jefferson had 4 offensive rebounds. He scored 9 points. He's not necessarily someone that's going to show up huge amounts of points in the stats. Although he had 8 assists, so that's pretty darn good. But he is a hard worker, and I've heard it said before that he just has a lot of tools in his toolbox that he can use. He's very good with the ball. He can dribble the ball nicely. He can pull down. He can steal shots. He can block. Although he didn't have any blocks tonight, but he did have a steal. And he only had 1 turnover. So he's a pretty consistent player. Another thing that I think the Arizona Wildcats needed to learn, or were learning, is we're doing the high amount of assists that were helping them out as a team quite a bit. But how could the Arizona Wildcats deal with foul trouble? Because tonight Caleb Tarczewski he was in foul trouble with 4 fouls, and Rondé Hollis-Jefferson was in trouble with 4 fouls, and we had T.J. McConnell with 3 fouls, but and that's our point guard. Usually the point guard doesn't get into foul trouble, but it's I guess if there is a game that the Arizona Wildcats can try things out, see how the assist to turnover ratio, maybe increase that for the Arizona Wildcats. How they can deal with these different situations, being in foul trouble, their main scorers being in foul trouble. Then this was probably a good team to do that, because like I said, the final score was Arizona Wildcats 79, the Texas Tech Red Raiders 58. Tarczewski, there was a Tarczewski is 7 feet tall, and the Red Raiders had a 7 feet tall guy on their team too. So I heard that it would be interesting to see how Tarczewski was going to go head to head with their 7 foot, with the Red Raiders 7 foot big man. And I think he did pretty good. I think their big man, I think he got, let me see how many rebounds he got. I don't see anything really jumping out. But you know, the just working together was Aaron Gordon and Brendan Ashley, and you know, let's see, Aaron Gordon scored 19 points and Brendan Ashley scored 18 points. Nick Johnson almost had 20 points, and actually Brendan Ashley scored a double-double, so he had 10 rebounds and 18 points. So he did pretty nicely, and like I said before, he knocked down those three-pointers. So that was pretty awesome. This is a stat that I haven't seen very often, is the Texas Tech Red Raiders shot 9.1% from three-point land. They made 1 out of 11 from three-point land. So we did pretty good, I guess. On defense, the Arizona Wildcats did pretty good on defense from beyond the arc. Well, anyway, it was a good learning lesson, and the next game is against UNLV, and then the Arizona Wildcats always have a really hard time with UNLV, and I'm sure that the Arizona Wildcats will be in foul trouble against UNLV, because UNLV is a very smart team. So, but anyway, the Arizona Wildcats win this game 79 to the Texas Tech Red Raiders. Final score: the Arizona